Hi everyone. We are back today
Hello, everybody.
and we are following up and just kind of having some more discussion on the whole ICE situation with Renee Good. There's a couple of stories that we found that came out, and we kind of want to give some perspectives and just really kind of dive into it a bit more. It's come out that according to this article from the Daily Mail, that Renee Good's former brother-in-law has put out some statements about Renee Good and her behavior. Um, so he's her former brother-in-law, meaning he's the brother of her ex-husband. He indicates, according to this article, that Renee should have minded her own business, quote unquote. Um, so let's get into this a bit more and see why he feels this way. So her former brother-in-law, according to this article by Daily Mail, named Joseph, has weighed in on everything that's happened. And apparently he's quoted saying, "She had no reason to be there, in my opinion. It had nothing to do with her. She shouldn't have been in the way. She had nothing to do with the ICE agents or immigration, so she shouldn't have been there. She should have minded her own business." So this is coming from a former brother-in-law. This brother is the brother of one of her ex-husbands named Tim Macklin, who passed away. So her ex-husband that she shares a 6-year-old with passed away in 2023. And this is the ex-husband's brother, apparently quoting to the Daily Mail how he feels about the situation. Prior to this, I didn't even know that any of the children's father had, passed away. So this is definitely new information for me, knowing that she was the last parent of the 6-year-old child that they mentioned in the initial video that they had just dropped off to school. Apparently, the two other children that she has are currently in the custody of their father, I guess their biological father, for the other two children. But the 6-year-old does not have any other parent. So we all saw that video, kind of, the ICE officers telling her to exit the vehicle. She doesn't exit the vehicle, and in fact, she takes off in the vehicle. So this is um the father of the 6-year-old son that he and Renee Good had, and he's also a former Air Force veteran. So this is the ex-husband, and he passed away in 2023. I don't know how he passed away. I would have to do some further research, kind of see what's going on with that. But he, and thank him for his service. He served this country in the Air Force. So, um, it looks like the Macklin's father, so her ex-father-in-law also weighed in and made some comments, saying that it's horrible. Everybody's shocked. And that Renee was a good person. He didn't agree with a lot of her ways, but it's really sad to see these things happen. And then he states, this is the ex-father in law, he states that the son is now orphan. The 6-year-old boy that they dropped off is now orphan, and there's nobody else in his life. He says he'll drive or fly to come and get his grandchild. Let's just kind of dive into that a bit. Um, he is the grandfather because that's his son's child with Renee. Um, just kind of circle that all in my mind. If she knew, well, she did know that she was the only parent for the child, and that child was just dropped off the morning of to school, I'm confused as to where was the child prioritized on her and her wife's end before they went out there. I was unaware that she was the only parent, you know. That seems very really not thinking about the child. How do you drop off a child whose father's just passed away just a few years ago? So the child's already had, that loss, and then you're dropping them off and engaging in, you know, an illegal form of protest and actively, unfortunately, engaging with law enforcement, and now he doesn't have you either. That is really terrible. It's one thing when you lose one parent, but now he doesn't have any parents and he's only 6 years old. Oh my goodness. Like, that is terrible.
Yeah, it didn't have to go that way. The 6-year-old should have definitely been more of a priority. That's why even if what you feel is wrong, this shouldn't be happening with the people who are illegally here, but at the end of the day, you have a child that needs you home every day. So whatever you feel or not with that protest and everything going on, you still need to be there for that kid and maybe just protest peacefully so you're not risking your life.
There's another quote here where it looks like they said, I wish she would have minded her business and stayed out of the way. He continues, says, I know families are being broken apart, and I know she was trying to help, and it's heartbreaking, but now it's our family, and now her kids don't have a mom, and one of them has lost both the mom and the dad, which is kind of my sentiment here. Um, I don't think it's up to debate whether she was a good person or not a good person. I mean, that's subjective. You know what I'm saying? To some people,
Right.
a person could be good. To some person, like, that's not even the point. The point is, she's a mother, and I would think she would be a mother first, especially when she has such a small child that did not even have their dad. Like, it was not like, oh, well, she was just a single parent, and then, God forbid, if something were to happen to her, the child could always go stay with the father, or vice versa. Like, she was his last hope. Like, she was the final boss for her child. Like, I don't understand why she and the wife, knowing they had just dropped this child off, why that wasn't a priority. Like, I don't even, at this point, it's not about the protest. It's not about whether she or they or whomever thinks about what's being done. You knew this is on a personal level.
Right.
You knew this on a personal level. How could you dare drop a child off to school? You're the only parent that the child has and engage in this type of behavior.
It's just, I don't know how anyone could possibly justify that. It's just, I can't imagine myself having a 6-year-old and he lost his father, and then I'm thinking, I may want to go out there and protest, but I'm not going to protest in a way where I'm very likely to lose my life and now he's alone. So I'm not sure what would happen. But I'm thinking maybe Renee's wife could possibly step up since she took ownership to all that happening.
Well, she was saying, the wife, and I read some other articles that they're not legally married. So I don't know if she's a legal guardian for this child, if she's going to step up and be the stepmother or the whatever mother or father, whatever the identity is, politics, whatever for the child, if she even has the legal right to do so. Or if, she be trumped by the child's, paternal side,
Yeah.
because really she has no actual relationship to that child in terms of, if they're not even legally married either. If this is not a legal marriage, that's a whole other thing. So it might be some court issues, for that. But, she did say it's her fault. She told Renee to go down there. She also did say in the video, when after everything happened, that they had just dropped off the child, and she's also the person in the video that we all saw saying, "Try, try, try, try,"
Right.
and it's like, whoa, what kind of influence was she in this relationship? Because it seems like all the bad decisions of that day, from how she's describing it, came from her. Yes, obviously, Renee should have obeyed the enforcement officers rather than whatever, the wife or the partner or whatever. But it seems like she is saying herself that it's her fault. And while she didn't pull the trigger, she, like, normally in life, sometimes you have, like they say, the good shoulder and the bad shoulder. Why was the partner not offering any good advice? Drive, baby, drive wasn't good advice. Come down here and protest after we drop off a young child to school wasn't good advice. Like, talking all the stuff she was saying to the cops and wasn't good actions. Like, is this also an issue of not just protesting illegally, but also of the people you have in your life? Watch the people that are in your life.
Right.
Because if we really kind of go back, I mean, it sounds like from what the wife said that none of this would have happened if she didn't tell her to go down there. So fate could have went a whole nother way. But there was just, and then why would she tell her to drive off when she was still standing there? Did she think that when the Renee drove off, if she would have drove off successfully without coming in contact with the officer, that maybe she wouldn't have gotten arrested and they would still had issues? Because she was engaging the cops just as much as Renee. Only difference was Renee was
Right.
behind a vehicle that unfortunately she stepped on the gas and the response was what it was. They're saying that the officer suffered some type of internal bleeding
Oh my.
from the incident. We don't know to the length of that. Obviously, we don't have his medical records, but why would she tell her spouse or whatever to drive, baby, drive, while the cop is telling her or the enforcement agent is telling her get out the vehicle? Like, why did she say, baby, just stopped? Stop, stop, stop. Look, this has gone too far. Like, where was the filter? Was there any filter, or did everybody think this was a free for all?
I feel like it's just neither party was thinking. I don't know, maybe it's some kind of codependent relationship where they both kind of lean on each other and rely on each other for their thinking.
But
Um,
then one needs to be smarter than the other.
right.
They both can't be making terrible decisions, and it seemed like there was no logic. I mean, the situation was with law enforcement. In any scenario when an officer of the law, and she should know this, Renee would know this because she was married to a former a veteran. So she would know that veterans are given orders, they have to carry out the orders, whether they like the orders or not, right? They're expected to do the orders that they're directed to do. No different than the ICE agents, the police officers, they all have orders and they're expected to carry them out. Um, you can always fight another day in court. You can always fight another day with another form of protest or some other actions you might be doing to try to help a situation that you feel is not right under your belief. But since when can we just do what we want to do with law enforcement? Ever, like in life. Like, I would have never, if again, that wouldn't have been me. There's no way I'm gonna drop a child off to school knowing that the child does not have another parent. I'm literally their last hope of an actual parent that created them or brought them into this world. I'm not going to drop them off at a school. I'm not going to drop them off at a family member. I'm not going to drop them off anywhere and then go engage law enforcement as if I'm the Terminator and this is a video game. This is real life. And knowing that that poor child is sitting there waiting for me to come get them at the end of the day. I don't care if you believe ICE is right, ICE is wrong, whoever's wrong, the president's wrong, it's not right. How can you care about more about saving people that are being deported or detained because they're unlawfully in the country than you care about the child you just drop off? Like, when did one, like, how did she prioritize? How did either of them? Because this was two brains, not one. This
Right.
was two brains. Like, neither of the brains felt that we could do something different to help the cause.
Yeah, she cared too much about a battle that, in her brother's words said
Brother,
wasn't
ex-brother-in-law.
ex-brother-in-law said wasn't really her own
I
business.
kind of agree with him on that. I think her most business should have been her children.
Yeah, it was definitely much bigger business it being the child's safety than people she doesn't even know.
And my thing is that once you were told to exit the vehicle, whether you're in a protest or not, right? If a cop, anybody of law enforcement tells you to do something, I was taught that you comply. All this challenging and doing all this stuff, I'm not going to do that with a person that's literally licensed to unalive you at a moment's notice once they say they feel threatened. I would rather save that battle for the courtroom. I would rather save that battle for another day. especially when I know that I have a 6 year old waiting for me. Because think about it. If she didn't listen to the woman telling her to drive, baby, drive, if she would have listened to the officer instead, and I'm not saying the officers, oh, he's just right for what he did and this and that. I'm saying that we live in a society of laws, and anybody, protest or not, if a cop or someone is telling you stop, put your hands up, I'm gonna detain you, whatever. That's kind of like, if you haven't listened to anybody else in your life at any point in time, that is the time when you want to start listening, and you want to listen very well. You want to be very astute and solid in your listening, because we know that they have the legal authority. They have the law. They're sworn in. So while they may do things that are wrong at times, or we feel are wrong, you still have to obey the law. It's like a responsibility that you have. Some things are things we just must do in a society. You have the right to protest whatever you want to protest, but you do have to protest legally. I mean, but even beyond that, just as a human being, you prioritized a cause, and it's great to prioritize causes, but how did that trump your child, who literally was just hoping that you would come get them at the end of the day? And then why did the wife or partner, whatever they are, why was she so antagonistic?
Right. I feel like she probably thought they had power in the situation because they are American citizens, but that I really feel like that only helps you so much, especially when you're being that challenging with the officer. You're not listening to any of the orders, and it just trips me out a little bit how she thought this was gonna end up.
And I don't know why she would think. I know, yeah, she mentioned, oh, we're American citizens and blah blah blah, but American citizens get locked up and unalived every day by the law enforcement. Exactly. So like, how is that gonna help? That wasn't gonna help anything. Like, are we getting to a point where we think that we can, if we don't like the rules or regulations that are being enforced, that we can use our, bottles, cars, rocks, and whatever we find, like, and then think, and if you do it, there are consequences, especially if you get caught, or you're doing it right in front of their faces. Like, that's not something a parent with small children should be doing. Now, if you're just a single person and you want to crash out and do those things because that's what you believe, that's your business. But I mean, why would you want that for your child that you brought into the world? And I mean, 6 years old is still so very young. Like I said, I hope the spouse that says it's her fault, I hope that she steps up in some kind of meaningful way. I don't know how long they were together. Um, I probably need to do some more looking into that. Does she have a really solid relationship with the child? Or is everything that the child knew just gone in smoke now? And he has to go, possibly live somewhere else, be somewhere else, because she told the mother to drive, baby, drive. And she told the mother to go down there and protest. And unfortunately, Renee did all those things that were suggested.
Well, honestly, that may be better than the son going with Renee's wife because you see, Renee's wife caused that entire situation, and you're not just gonna gain all this wisdom and know what to do and not to do overnight. If it's pretty obvious she wasn't supposed to make her wife do all of that, so her being in charge and watching that child, how far is the child going to go with her?
That's true. She probably, yeah. I don't think she would be a good teacher or a good role model, because if she's not teaching the child to, I mean, you dropped off a child at school, and at school we all know that there is rules and regulations, right? The teachers are authority figures, the security guards are authority figures. Were they teaching the child to listen at school or not listen? Like, if a teacher said to the child, stop running, is the child supposed to challenge the teacher and say, I don't have to listen to you. My mom said I don't have to respect the authority. Like, what was going on here? What was
Right.
going on? Because usually you're instilling your own values into your children a lot of the time. So this was a value that we can, if we don't like something, we can in our own way try to overthrow, impede, antagonize the person or authority figure that's telling us. Is that what she was teaching at home? Because the apple usually doesn't fall too far from the tree. So, are we telling this is some type of switch? They're great parents and loving parents and prioritize their children at, from, I don't know, the time they get up to fix breakfast and send them off to school. And then once they're sent off to school, they turn into drive, baby, drive, don't listen to cops, don't listen to enforcements. And then when they pick the children up, they're back into, you should listen to me because, I'm the authority figure. Like, it just seems all too complicated there. Again, I'm not saying she deserved what happened to her. I'm saying that knowing this new information that the child didn't even have another parent, I just think the mindset between herself and her wife should have been totally different that day. And
Right.
every day. Not just that day, but literally every day. Because she still had at least 12 years to get this child to become the age of 18. Her most priority should have been survival. Survival. You can't worry about how other people are surviving. Especially if there's a law or whatever being enforced that anybody here illegally, they're gonna have them follow steps to leave and return the right way, whatever it is. How do you prioritize anything else above your child who's dependent on you? I think the buck stops there. We can even have to include whether it was a protest, whether it was drinking and driving, whether it was going out late and putting yourself in a dangerous situation in a random club with strangers. Like, you have to preserve yourself, right? Self-preservation, especially when you're a parent to small children. And I think this was definitely the worst example of self-preservation that we've seen in a long time, especially on the media. But let's go ahead and get into a couple of videos with some other opinions about the situation that's unfolding.
Here's our first one.
Okay.
Is Renee Good's wife. I just thought it was somebody that was on the scene, eyewitness or bystander. In the video, she is seen completely freaked out and she's completely blaming herself. Good's wife could be heard saying, "What did I do? What did I do?" Her wife was going through it. Let me play the video.
Okay. So let's move on to the next video. She's pretty much saying what we all heard, that the wife was telling her, drive, baby, drive. I don't understand that logic. I don't understand. And I don't understand why she was so quick to listen. This is not like a teenager. These are like adults. These
Exactly.
are not teenagers. So, like, if your friend tells you, to rob a bank and run as the cops are telling you to stop, you're caught already. Shouldn't you just stop? I don't get it, but
So is her wife gonna be charged? Because I think it's all the wife's fault. I'll tell you why. Because when they got stopped by ICE, the wife immediately gets out of the car and she starts yelling at the police officer, and she pulls out her phone and immediately starts recording. So she stays in the car and she is here talking to this guy here, the officer, who is telling her, get out of the car. So her wife is on the other side, and you can hear her say, drive, baby, drive. So immediately she steps on the gas and she drives off. And I don't think she saw the guy that was standing there. I honestly don't think she meant to hit the guy. I think she was listening to the wife's instructions.
I don't know if she saw him 100% or not, because I know one was at the window, one agent was at the window, one's front. I don't know, but even if she didn't see him, what about if there was a regular person just walking down the street and you just respond by taking off? You could have crashed into anybody. You could have hit
Exactly.
anybody, cop or not, like somebody involved with the protest or not. Like, and that's the part that doesn't make sense of why she would even listen to that kind of order, and why the wife would even give that kind of order. It could have been somebody just randomly across the street, or maybe even another protester that believes in everything that they're out there doing. And you just take off in a vehicle where you could slam to somebody, you have no control to stop. or anything like that. So I think it was all around very bad judgment.
And when she said drive, baby, drive, she immediately reacted and stepped on the gas because she thought the road was clear. Because I'm sure she trusts her wife. So this instigator right here is who is guilty, in my opinion. And her GoFundMe has $1.5 million. That's the crazy
One
part.
and a half million dollars. $1.5 million for what? For giving the worst advice in the world to the person you're supposed to love and care about?
For causing a 6-year-old to become an orphan.
Like, why is she getting paid? Why is she getting paid? Like, she should have paid attention to what she was out there doing. Why is she getting paid on this? I mean, I get it. People could donate to what they want, but so everybody loses. The child loses his mom. The mom loses her life. And the person that said, hey, drive, baby, drive, because a lot of this, most likely, in my opinion, wouldn't have happened if she never took off in that vehicle towards that officer. She's going to come off paid. The family members are going to come off paid. Everybody's going to sue and come off paid. Is this money going to go to the child? Because why should she get any money?
Exactly.
Why should she get anything when she instigated a lot of this? Why should she get paid? So if these GoFundMe's are going up, I hope it's going up to help rear the child, being that he's so small, and her other children, because I don't think a person that helped instigate the situation should be receiving funds. But people, it's their money; they can send it where they want. I just hope that the child gets some benefit off of that, because it wouldn't be fair to him. I know the family's most likely going to sue, but my question is, did the family know that she was out there doing this? I think I read something about they thought she was going to visit other family members, so I don't know how much of her family might even know she was out there, you know, as part of this protesting type of what they're doing with ICE. But nevertheless, let us know what you think. Do you think, knowing now that the 6-year-old that was mentioned in this video, didn't even have his dad anymore on the land of the living, and that she and her wife were the sole people immediately in that child's life that they dropped off to school? Do you think there should have been some further thinking about that? Who do you feel should be getting all this money that's coming in from the GoFundMe?
Please let us hear your thoughts in the comment section. We'd love to hear what you people have to say, and we will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.